Well, I'll start the meeting anyway. I think they're doing some technical business on the side here. I'll call the May meeting of the New York State Cemetery Board meeting to order. I'm Mark Pattison. I represent Secretary of State Walter Mosley.
And I'm Jill Faber, and I represent Attorney General Letitia James.
Thomas Fuller, representing Dr. James McDonald, Commissioner of Health.
Thank you. We're all here in person, and that's great. It's an annual event for us to come to share our meeting with you. All of our meetings are held in public, but this is a special event to hold them in front of people and be able to get questions and answers later if you'd like. So we are grateful to NYSAC for offering us that opportunity. Thank you. And of course, NYSAC and the New York State, the Division of Cemeteries have longstanding relationships to help support cemeteries. It's been a good year in many ways for the Division of Cemeteries and the Cemetery Board. We've added staff, which has allowed us to do other things, more support, more training, cemetery 101s, more support for preventing abandonments, and just all around other activities, including our regulatory responsibilities of audit and oversight. So again, we're glad to be here, and we'll start off the meeting by, it's not in the minute. Oh yeah, the minutes that we need to review the minutes from the last meeting. Does anybody have any corrections or additions to the minutes?
None here.
Okay. All right, then I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as distributed.
I'll second that.
All right, we can do both those. We have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved as distributed. We'll now move to our council. Subbing in David Gonzalez is helping us, and you have a legislative and regulations report. The question marks. We mailed a legislative report. So
Yeah, I attached, did we get that up on the website? Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know if there's anything to add to that. You're good with that?
yeah, I mean, we'll just rest on the record for that. I just note that in one of the bills I referenced, Senate 3007C and Assembly 3007C was enacted as a part of the budget, HMH Part I. But other than that, I mean, everything is in there.
Okay. Board members have any questions of the legislative report? Anything else with regulations that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I know, we're still reviewing comments.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to a division report. Our director, Louis Polishuk.
Right, so staffing update, we are close to making recommendations to hire 3 accountants, 2 in New York City and 1 in Albany. Hopefully more on that by next month. We have 2 cemetery 101s coming up in June. Somebody have the dates on those? I do not. June 21st in Henrietta. It's a Saturday. 1 p.m. And where is it? Do you remember the exact location? It's on our website. Where?
I think it's the Henrietta Town.
Okay, yeah, I think that's right, Henrietta Town Hall. It's on, all the cemetery 101s are on our website. And we have another one, what's the date of the other one scheduled? Anyway, they're all on our website. There's a section of our website devoted to cemetery 101s. We're late, it's Caring for Your Cemetery Day went over very well downstate. The rest of the state, it was a bit of a wash because it was very heavy rain. Hopefully we will get better weather next year. And one other thing I'll just add is that, what was it? Sorry. Scratch that. Just go to the annual report statistics. We're into our next annual report season. I remembered where I put this. This would be helpful. I have a copy of this that Alicia.
1,064 reports representing about 64%.
Right, I have it right here.
54% of which have been filed online.
53% online, correct. 1,060 reports out of about 1,600. That's not so unusual. Most larger cemeteries, some cemeteries are on a fiscal year that doesn't respond to the calendar year. Others have asked for adjournments that take them beyond April 30th, so extensions that would be granted. So that number sounds about right. Not failing, remembering what I was gonna say about the other item, I think we are good.
Well, we've proven that behind all great directors is a great staff. If I get a chance for the staff that are here to work for us, just stand and wave your hand and just be acknowledged. We really, again, appreciate we appreciate the work you do, and glad to have you here with us. Next is the vandalism report. Do you have that, Louis?
Yeah, I do. So, our appropriation for the new fiscal year is 2 million, same as last year. So far, for the calendar year, we've collected 475,000 and change on vandalism and 261,000 and change for the assessment. For the fiscal year, which just started, that's 17 grand and change for vandalism and about 6,500 for assessments. That could have changed in the last day or two. But that's roughly where we're at. In terms of applications, that if you look at everything that's out there in terms of things we've already committed to, we only have $713,000 left for this year. But because we split up payments and because some of those won't even come in this fiscal year, the work gets delayed for whatever reason before finishing, then we're not concerned about running out of money this fiscal year, fortunately. In terms of pending applications, there's 150 grand and change on for this month, with another 760 that have been submitted, but not yet fully reviewed and not yet complete. Again, so far, these numbers sound like we're going to run out of money in a few months, but it has worked out in the last few years that because of splitting payments, the larger payment gets delayed until the next fiscal year, and we've been able to manage the current workflow. I'll note that NISAC did advocate for increasing our appropriation from 2 million to 2.5 million. That didn't happen, but as of now, I don't anticipate any of this being an issue.
Okay. Thank you, Louis. Anything else from the division? Okay, again, we urge people to report their annual reports online if you can. We have some training and handholding around that issue as well. It just increases accuracy and our ability to review the reports in detail. Next up is the actual applications for the vandalism fund. We have 5 applications, all in the category of dangerous monuments, and we'll take them in order unless somebody tells me otherwise. First up is Forest Lawn, Oakwood, 24 hazardous monuments in Erie County in the amount of $31,575.95. And the staff will present, have to come to a microphone, I think. Oh, we would appreciate it. Thank you. Logistics. I have the same problem getting up on steps.
Still there.
Introduce yourself as well.
Okay. Good morning, all. My name is Jessica Rosario. I'm the investigator for the Southern Tier. I'll be presenting Oakwood Cemetery. I'm sorry, yeah. The Forest Lawn Cemetery Group is more specifically known as Oakwood Cemetery 15027. The Huron Hazard Monument Repair application is specifically for the location known as Oakwood Cemetery. It's a small rural cemetery in the village of East Aurora, Erie County. They submitted an application for the repair of 24 hazardous monuments on April 17, 2025. Investigator Level 2, Michael Seelman, visited the cemetery and confirmed that all 24 monuments appear to pose a hazard. Of these identified monuments, the oldest dated is 1897, possibly older because The years on the stones are illegible, and most recently dated monument is 1954. The cemetery stated that they do not have lot owner records for this time. The Forest Lawn Cemetery Group ran a legal notice for the identified monuments at Oakwood Cemetery once a week for 3 weeks in the publication known as East Aura Advisor. The expense was $114.95 with no response. It is our understanding that the cemetery has determined that the lot owners cannot be located. The cemetery provided repair estimates from Western New York Cemetery Services, a repair estimate of $31,461. Second was Milano Stone and Restoration, repair estimate for $46,725. And the third was J. Borger Construction, a repair estimate for $144,325. The reset of 24 monuments on concrete foundation and work guarantee is as follows. Western New York Cemetery Services proposes 42-inch concrete foundation and provides a 20-year warranty. Milano Stone and Restoration proposes 40-inch foundations and offers a 1-year warranty. J. Berger did not provide foundation specification. However, they did offer a 20-year warranty. The Forest Lawn Cemetery Group, more specifically known as Oakwood Cemetery, is up to date on their vandalism payments and annual reports. Investigator Michael Seelman recommends an approval amount of $31,575.95.
Thank you.
No problem. Should I wait? Because I have 2 more.
Sure, you can wait. We'll take yours. That'll be efficient. So, does anybody or council have anything to say about the application?
No.
Does any board members have any questions about the application?
No.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the application of Forest Lawn Oakwood Cemetery for hazardous monuments in the amount of $31,575.95, subject to the availability of funds. Do we have a second? All
Second.
right, yay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is approved, application is approved. You're up again? Which one?
The Jewish Foundation,
Jewish-
the
Jewish-
Beth Jacob location.
Okay. Jewish Federation,
Yeah, Federation.
Erie County, in the amount of $20,160.32. Can you present that application for us?
Yes. The Jewish Federation of Greater Buffalo Cemetery owns and maintains 8 Jewish cemeteries in the Greater Buffalo area, Buffalo, New York area. The herein hazardous monument repair application was specifically for the Beth Jacob location. 15075 is a small rural cemetery in the town of Chickawa, thank you. Chickawa in Erie County. Thank you. They submitted an application for the repair of 32 hazardous monuments. On 5/7/2024, investigator Michael Cantina visited the cemetery and confirmed that all 23 monuments appeared to pose a hazard. Of these identified monuments, the oldest dated monument is 1897, possibly older because some of the monuments stones are illegible. The most recently dated monument is 1954. The cemetery has stated that they do not have the lot owner records for this time. Jewish Federation of Greater Buffalo Cemeteries ran the legal notice for the identified monuments at Beth Jacobs once a week for 3 consecutive weeks in a publication known as Amherst B. The cost was $185.32 with no response. It is our understanding that the cemetery has determined that lot owners cannot be located. The cemetery provided repair estimates from Leon and Sons Monument Repair for an estimate of $19,977. $77. Dark Star the repair estimate was for $25,300. To reset, the reset of 23 monuments on concrete foundations. Both contractors provided foundation depths of 42 inches. Leon's and Sons Monument provided 10-year warranty versus Dark Star, which did not provide any warranty information. It should be noted that Dark Star's estimate does not itemize and did not give work specifications to be done and did not include warranty information. The BEFS, the Jewish Federation of Greater Buffalo Cemetery, specifically the Beth Jacob location, is up to date on vandalism payments and annual reports. Investigator Michael Cantina recommends the approval of the amount of $20,162.32.
I'm just gonna interject that we are, that while they're up to date in their annual reports, they're only up to date because we've given them an extension. There's some very old issues. I wouldn't say non-compliance, I would say figuring out the best way for this cemetery, which is a very odd history, to come into compliance, that we are very, very close to resolving. We have no current issues with them right now, but we can't make our usual statement that we believe they're in compliance with everything, because there's still a couple of oddities that we're working out with them as part of an audit that started in 2020 and has taken forever because of staffing and COVID. But we're working very, very cooperatively with them to resolve the few remaining dotting i's and crossing t's in that process.
Okay. Council, anything else to add to the?
Yeah, and I apologize, I should have added this to the prior one as well, but this is type 2 action under state environmental quality review, so no determination is necessary. It's this one, like the last one, is type 2 under 6 NYCRR 0.5, paragraph C, subdivision 2.
And any approval of money should, of course, be subject to availability of funds.
I did that already.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the application of the Jewish Federation in the specific location identified for 23 monuments in the amount of $20,162.32, subject to the availability of funds, and to make sure that it's in the record that they're both type 2 actions in
Yes.
terms of seeker. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. The application is approved. Do you have one more? Great, you've been doing great.
Thank
So-
you.
Is it the Riga Cemetery?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Riga Cemetery, in Monroe County, in the amount of $18,145.21. Go ahead.
The Riga Cemetery Association, 28033, is a small rural cemetery in in the town of Riga, New York, Monroe County. They submitted an application for the repair of 11 hazardous monuments. On 11/19/2024, investigator Michael Cantina visited the cemetery and confirmed that all 11 monuments appear to pose a hazard. Of these identified monuments, the oldest is dated 1850. The most recent is dated 1970. The cemetery stated that they do not have lot owner records for this time. Riga Cemetery ran a legal notice once a week for 3 weeks in a publication known as West Side News, Inc. The cost of $123.21 with no response. It is our understanding that the cemetery has determined that the lot owners cannot be located. The cemetery provided repair estimates from Woodside Granite, repair estimate for $32,730, and Western New York Lawn Service, Inc., repair estimate for $18,022. To reset 11 monuments on concrete foundation, both contractors provide foundation depth of 42 inches. Woodside Granite provides a 10-year warranty versus Western New York Lawn Service, which provides a 20-year warranty. The Riga Cemetery 28033 is up to date on vandalism payments and annual reports. Investigator Michael Cantina recommends the approval in the amount of $18,143.21.
Thank you. Round of applause for our rock star. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark, I just want to interject on this one, before, I guess you haven't approved it yet, but
I have not.
just to clarify, because we don't usually get into this level of detail with bids. Again, board knows this, for those of you out there out in TV land, just a reminder, we require these bids and use these bids to determine an appropriate budget for approving funds from the fund. We are not approving the use of any particular contractor. We have no relationship with any of the contractors. We just say we take the lowest bid, add to it the cost of running legal notices and other efforts to contact lot owners if there are any. And that's how we come up with the number that could be appropriated from the fund. But we're not mentioning the bidders. Doesn't mean that we have any relationship with these guys. It also doesn't mean the cemetery has any obligation to use any of these people. They get their money as long as they do proper work and get a 10-year warranty and pour proper foundations, they can hire whoever they want.
Good reminder for folks about what I would do. Thank you. Council, anything to add to this?
This is also a type 2 action for purposes of state environmental quality review, so no secret determination is necessary.
Great. Okay, so I'll make, any other questions from board members? I'll make a motion to approve the application from Riga Cemetery Association in Monroe County at 11 monuments in the amount of $18,145.21, sub-availability of funds, noting that it's a type 2 action. Go ahead. Second?
Second.
Jill is on board. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The application is approved. Next, oh, good, you're already up there. Carr Cemetery, 28 monuments in Oneida County in the amount of $55,000, 159 cents, $59.62. Thank you.
Okay.
Introduce yourself.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I'm Corey Moore with the Division of Cemeteries. I'm an investigator out of Central New York, working out of Syracuse. This morning I have the Carr Cemetery for the Hazardous Monument Grant. Carr is a small rural cemetery in the town of Marcy, Oneida County. They submitted an application for the repair of 28 hazardous monuments. I personally visited the cemetery and confirmed that all monuments appear to pose a hazard. The cemetery had their most recent monument that posed a hazard dated in 1985. And the cemetery stated that they do not have any of the lot owner information from that time frame. The cemetery has ran a legal notice once a week for 3 weeks in the Observer Dispatch with no response. It is our understanding that the cemetery has determined the lot owners cannot be located. The cemetery has provided repair estimates. They submitted 2 repair estimates with the lowest bid coming from Northeast Cemetery Services at $55,000 even. Northeast Cemetery Services will set the work at a 42-inch depth and placed in concrete, and they would offer a 10-year warranty. Carr Cemetery last received monument repair funding in 2023 in the amount of $35,896.87. The cemetery is up to date on vandalism payments and annual reports. The division recommends approval in the amount of $55,159.62.
Thank you. Council, anything to add to the report?
Nothing on the facts. This is an unlisted action under state environmental quality review, so. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Carr.
Carr.
Sorry.
Yeah. We were talking about.
He was talking about another
Sorry.
one, so I got ahead of myself. Carr is a type 2 action, so no secret review is required.
Great. Any other board members have questions on the application? No. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the application for Carr Cemetery in Oneida County in the amount of $55,159 and 62 cents subject to the availability of funds. Do I have a second? Second. Okay, all in favor? Aye. The application is approved. Last one of vandalism is from Jackson Rural Cemetery, same reporter, in Onondaga County in the amount of $28,128.54.
Yes, so the Jacksonville Rural Cemetery is a small rural cemetery located in the town of Lysander in Onondaga County. They also submitted an application for the repair of 24 hazardous monuments. I personally visited the cemetery and confirmed that all monuments appeared to pose a hazard. Their most recent monument stated 1942, and the cemetery stated they also do not have any lot owner records from that time frame. The cemetery ran a legal notice once a week for 3 weeks in the Baldwinsville Messenger, with receiving no responses. It is our understanding that the cemetery has determined that the lot owners cannot be located. The cemetery also provided 2 repair estimates, with the lowest coming in at from Barnett Memorials at $28,006. Barnett has proposed to set the new foundations into a 42-inch depth and placed in concrete. Barnett offers a 10-year warranty as well. The Jacksonville Rural Cemetery also received previous monument repair funding in 2024 in the amount of $25,727. The cemetery is up to date on vandalism payments and annual reports. The division recommends approval in the amount of $28,128.54.
Thank you. Council, anything to add? Yes.
This is a type 2 action, so no secret determination required.
Okay. And do you have something? No? Okay. Board members have anything to add? Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the application from Jackson Rural in Onondaga County in the amount of $28,128.54, subject to the availability of funds. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Motion carries. Again, thank you for your report.
Like, are you doing it from a Packard or am I?
Yes,
Okay.
unless,
Oh, is there another one?
Stay up here.
okay.
No. This is our first,
right. Great, okay. And I would just make a point of privilege. I hope that you found those presentations boring, because we have worked very hard to standardize our applications, to standardize our review and make sure we're compliant with all of the rules, check boxes. And again, while it might be boring, it's generally done right. And that's progress. So thank you guys all for doing that. We will move to other applications. You're doing the first one?
I believe so.
Yep.
You're doing Fruma Packard Cemetery, a major alteration, nunc-pro-tunc, and resolving a past non-compliance. Go ahead.
Yes, all right. The Fruma Packard Cemetery Association is a small urban Jewish cemetery in the city of Syracuse, Onondaga County. The cemetery is requesting non-pro-tunc board approval after performing a major cemetery renovation. The cemetery has converted the interior of an existing chapel into a 765 square foot, 1-bedroom apartment. The total renovation cost at the time was $82,598.12. The cemetery has also entered into a residential lease for 12 months and intends to utilize the renovated apartment as a residence for the cemetery's on-site caretaker. The cemetery reported that no existing graves or monuments were disturbed during the construction project. The division did have one major concern with this application, is that the cemetery did not seek cemetery board approval prior to initiating and completing the renovation. The division spoke with Association President Andrew Dorovitz. He explained that he misunderstood the specifics of the law requiring prior approval. Mr. Dorovitz believed that cemetery board approval was only required if the cemetery expended $25,000 or more of its own funds for the project. And the division believes that This error was made in good faith. Once discovered, the cemetery took quick and responsible action to bring forth their application and all required documents. Given these circumstances, the division did not issue a notice of noncompliance at the time and has since negotiated a settlement with the cemetery to transfer $1,000 into its permanent maintenance fund in lieu of a fine. And the division does recommend approval of the application.
All right. Hang tight there, but yes, Joe. Council, do you have anything to frame this up?
This type 2 action, so.
Okay.
It's repair, it's repairs.
Yeah.
I have a question. The $25,000 threshold that the cemetery thought was the point at which they had to get approval. I think you said that the work that was done was 80-something thousand. So where did that money come?
So we untangled that there was the cemetery received a substantial amount of donations for this specific project.
Okay.
And we do have the association president with us online, so we can answer some of the questions about how they received it. But my understanding is that he believed that the cemetery only spent 17,000 of its original funds for this project. The rest of the cost was funded through donations.
Which is wrong, though.
It wasn't correct.
So this whole $25,000 seems to be a cemetery's urban myth that I've heard in multiple places, which makes me wonder whether somebody before I got here was actually telling people this. If that's supposed to be against $25,000 that our regulations require immediate certification on the application, it would cross the $25,000 threshold. People thought that necessarily $25,000 would be approval, and it seems to be lost on that where it's $25,000 of their own money. It does make a certain amount of logical sense, even though it's not supported by the text, because as was said earlier, when we were in ethics, we were talking about, the previous panel was talking about land use regulations and seeker. We tend to, not that this is all we look at, but we tend to skew more in terms of being concerned with financial impacts and self-dealing of transactions than we are in terms of traditional land use considerations. So the idea that we might not care if the cemetery is spending minimal money, although wrong, is not crazy.
Make the point again, they need to seek cemetery board approval regardless of the amount.
Again, I just want to explain, like,
Yeah, I'm not- I hear you saying it, and I want to make sure we're clear, right? We're clear. You must seek cemetery board approval prior to the act,
correct,
right?
regardless of cost.
Regardless.
We actually, when we created the forms for major alterations, we listed the considerations that go into it, something like major alteration. And what we suggest, the form itself suggests to go down those. If you check no for all of those boxes, instead of just proceeding, send us a one-page letter summarizing what you're up to. And we can then say, no, based on the facts you've given us, this does not look like it's a major alteration. And that way, you covered yourself in advance.
I just have one more question.
Yes, go ahead.
So it's a donation, and there's no loan agreement, there's no paying back the funds.
Yes, as far as the hour review, it seemed to be a donation. They filed it under a donation, and they filed annual reports
Right.
based on that amount. So, yes.
Okay, thank you, Jill. Council, is there something that I need to specifically say in the resolution about approving the nunc-pro-tunc or resolving the past non-compliance?
No, I mean, they're two separate matters in terms, they're both type 2 actions under seeker for different reasons. One of them it's because it's renovation, and the other because it's in a civil enforcement matter. But no, nothing else to add.
So I'll test this, make a motion to approve the major application from Fruma Packard Cemetery, which includes approving a nunc-pro-tunc application. You have to do that to the court, is that correct?
Yes.
So we're not approving it, but we're approving the
Well,
application.
we have no objection.
No objection. There you go. That's what I was looking for. There's something there. And also resolving a past noncompliance by recognizing $1,000 transfer of funds into their permanent maintenance fund. Anything else I need to add?
No.
Okay. That's the motion I'll make. Do I have a second? Second. Second. Okay, any other questions, conversation? All in favor? Aye. The application is approved. Thank you very much. And I should have asked the from the cemetery board if they wanted to say anything, and now I've sort of gone ahead of you, but is there anybody here that would like to speak, address from the cemetery board?
Andy's.
Hi, I'm here and I appreciate it very
Well,
much.
thank you, though, for working with us on that. Next application is Washingtonville Cemetery in Orange County. It's an incorporation of a church-owned cemetery. And thank you for your presentation.
So Washingtonville Cemetery is smack in the middle of the village of Washingtonville. It's kind of in a fair, it's part of a Presbyterian church, although it's not directly adjacent to the church. It's been operating for several years now, at least for more than 4 years, largely independently of the church. There's a cemetery committee that's effectively running the cemetery and its finances. The church has been looking to spin this off for quite some time. Initially, when we got the application, we were concerned about the financial viability of the cemetery and the fact that if it came under our jurisdiction and then went under, the town would have to maintain it, which wouldn't be the case here. The cemetery has put the town on notice of what they're up to and what the possible impact is. The town has given a letter supporting the application, which is in the package. During the frankly excessively long time we've been going back and forth on this project, the cemetery has actually raised substantial amounts of money and greatly improved its financial position. So at this point, we're really not all that concerned about this cemetery becoming a regulated cemetery in the sense that it's not financially viable, because if their fundraising continues similar to what it's been in the last 4 years, they're going to be fine. So there's a couple of things that are before the board right now. First would be to make a determination under seeker, because this is an agency action. So I have drafted, Mark, I neglected to print this out. We can take care of it back in the office because it's in the board packet. You just can't physically sign it here. Drafted a part 2 and 3. So let me just let me just stop right there and ask if anybody's got any questions before I start reading resolutions.
Council?
No.
Okay, Louis, thank you. Go ahead.
So the first resolution will be under seeker. The board would adopt a resolution finding that the application is an unlisted action for purposes of seeker, finding that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impact. Parenthetically, this is not part of the resolution, but if anything, the cemetery coming under our jurisdiction being separate will have a positive environmental impact because we're providing a legal framework for somebody to take care of it for the future. Number 3, issuing a negative declaration under seeker. Number 4, approving the draft short environmental assessment form parts 2 and 3 that I previously circulated. And number 5, authorizing the cemetery board chair, Mark Pattison, to sign the draft part 3 on behalf of the board.
Okay,
Just need separate motions.
That's the first, that's all, that can be all one motion?
The seeker should be its own motion.
Right, I'm stopping it.
okay. As this is was read in the record as was distributed in the board packet, so I'll make that resolution as read and as distributed. Do I have a second? Okay, any other questions from the board members? No? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Louis, continue.
So this resolution I'm going to need to edit slightly. This is the board's approval of the certificate of incorporation. So what we're asking the board to do is approve the certificate of incorporation in the form attached that we previously distributed, subject to receipt of the cemetery's receipt of the Hudson Valley Presbytery's consent to the transfer of the property before filing the certificate of incorporation with the Division of Corporations, and be subsequent to filing conveyance of title by the church to the newly formed cemetery corporation. They can't convey the title until after the corporation is formed, but they shouldn't form the corporation until the presbytery, which oversees the church, approves the transfer.
Okay.
And number 3 is authorizing Board Chair Mark Patterson to, I'm adding, this was not in the original resolution, authorizing Board Chair Mark Patterson to sign on behalf of the board, a legal document to be prepared by council approving the certificate of incorporation.
Okay, council?
Nothing to add. Thank you.
Any questions from board members? Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the application of Washingtonville Cemetery, both, well, we already voted on the seeker, so, and this also was distributed and read into the record and amended to allow me to sign the documentation, so I'll make the motion as read into the record. And do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Application is approved. Our last bit of business is Ferncliff Cemetery, Westchester, resolving past noncompliance.
Okay, so this is pretty straightforward. We've discussed this before, so I'm going to keep this very brief. We've agreed in principle with Ferncliff to resolve our notice of noncompliance out of 2 incidents that occurred back in 2.5 incidents that occurred back in late August of 2024. Council has prepared a consent order. It's my understanding that all the board members have reviewed and approved the form of the consent order. So I think we reviewed it. Sorry, the approval is what I'm asking for, right?
Yeah, with just one caveat on the review. It's my understanding that the form of the consent order is going to need to include the date of the revised operating plan.
Yes, the consent order will have to be revised to refer to the revised operating plan, which is dated February 2025. And once the board approves this, then we can share it with the cemetery, sign it, and be done with this matter. Dave, who's signing it? Is it Mark or you?
If the board approves the form, the board would authorize Mark.
So we have to authorize Mark to sign as well.
Yes.
Okay, so we're approving the form of the consent order and authorizing Mark to sign it on behalf of the board.
Yes.
And there's a specific to the,
Yeah, I'm just going to refer everyone. I wrote a fairly detailed memo on this that was
All right.
presented to the board back in April.
okay, that's right.
There was a
March
motion
or
at the
April.
last month's meeting.
That's right. Appreciate that. Is there anyone here from cemetery that would like to address the board? Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the resolution of past noncompliance as discussed in previous board meetings, as detailed in previous board meetings, to resolve an issue of past
I
noncompliance.
think you approved that last month. All we're approving now is the consent order and
Okay,
authorizing you
thank
to
you.
sign it.
So we'll approve the consent order as discussed and
Yeah.
amended, and giving me permission to sign on the board's behalf if approved. So I'll make that motion. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, the motion is approved. That's the business that's before us. We also always invite public comment. Our next cemetery board meeting is scheduled for June 10th.
So apparently we have possible issues with the date. You were okay with the morning of the 10th, Tom, not the afternoon?
Afternoon, I'm okay.
Yeah, afternoon. If everyone's okay with it, my recommendation is let's keep it for the 10th, but just put it on for 1 p.m.
I think I looked.
Okay. Okay, and if anything comes up, we will give the public plenty of notice as to when it will actually be.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next board meeting is tentatively scheduled for June 10th, but later in the afternoon, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, public comment, is there anybody online that wishes to address the board on matters before the board? First online? All right, and again, we're in front of an audience, so is there anybody here who wishes to address the board? Please go to the microphone if you can, or somebody can help you with that if staff want to help.
Thank you for a very orderly and well-planned board meeting.
Could you introduce yourself?
Oh, yes. My name is Leo Kellogg, affiliated as an associate member with East Nassau Rural Cemetery
Great.
in Rensselaer County. My question is very simple. There's quite a discussion or comment with respect to companies which have received awards for construction or repair. And would someone recognize, it could do it at the board meeting, or identify someone with whom I could speak after as to how to identify those companies or companies to do that work?
Well, we have staff here.
Yeah, so to be clear, we do not award any contracts. We do not do contracts. We do not award anything to companies. We do not have any business with any companies doing restoration of hazardous monuments. That said, we do keep a list of companies that have bid on hazardous monuments and could share that list with you. We have a generic email, cemeteries, plural, @dos.ny.gov. If you email that, we can send you the list of various companies that have bid.
Is there someone from Rensselaer County who would oversee Rensselaer County? Yeah, so, sir, right in the back, sir, right after the meeting, he'd be glad to sit down with you and at least give you that information in a way in which you can record it and keep it, so.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
The second question is even simpler. There was action by the board to approve an incorporation. And I'm brand new to this process, but I'm not understanding, or I believe that there is a statewide office or division or something, I think of the Department of State, which
Yes.
approves incorporations. And I'm confused as to how this board interacts with a statewide board.
Yeah.
With regard to incorporation.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's a good question. So the state law creates the cemetery board, which is meeting here. The state also, the law creates a position, a public office called the Director of the Division of Cemeteries, and an office of the Division of Cemeteries. Lewis serves as the director, and the Department of State is essentially the secretary for the cemetery board. So the application for incorporation has to come to the cemetery board, but because the Department of State provides operational support for the board, that's the role of the Department of
So
State.
our division of mechanically speaking, our division of corporations is where you go to file incorporation papers. But there's a special provision of our statute, I think it's even called additional requirements for incorporation.
Yeah, 1506A.
That you have to have the state cemetery board's approval before you can go to the division of corporations. So mechanically, what happens if would be more relevant to you if you were updating your certificate of incorporation. You would come to us for that approval first. Then you would take that piece of paper, attach it to the normal forms that any corporation would file with the Division of Corporations, and file that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for your new service to the East Nassau Cemetery Association. Do you have anybody else wishing to address the board? Any questions? David? No?
Well, we're getting into your time at this point.
So that's all right. David Fleming, Association of Cemeteries. Very simply, very much for participating, joining us. Helpful to have a little time with you.
Great, okay. Uh, Again, as I said, staff are here. We're glad to chat with you after the meeting if we can, and or at any other time. So I'll make a motion to adjourn the May meeting of the New State Cemetery Board. Jill? Second? All in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.